Hello. Wow. How about a round of applause? Virtual from all over the world. Come on. Come on in. Filmmakers, talented filmmakers. We're just the fish don't care when it rains. Jennifer, that song has been in my head for years. Nobody wants to hear me sing it, but I can't stop.
It's too great.
Uh, I want to, again, thank you guys. We've gotten some great questions so far, but if you have any questions, please hit us up in the chat because we want to hear from you. But to start things off, these films were just so beautiful, authentic. I want to know a little bit about the inspiration behind each film and how this came to be, and also hear about your process making the film. I'm going to start out with, before I start out, I want to again preface that there is a full assignment that everybody has to follow. So that's part of the process, but they all felt so authentic. And I want to know a little bit more about how these films came to be and what inspired you to create them. Rachel, we asked you last, and I'm going to ask you first this time.
Amazing. So as Andy had mentioned before, obviously this film was inspired by him. So it actually I didn't even put two and two together that Andy and I met shortly before I wrote this film. And yeah, it was history in the making. But really, I just love exploring different facets of the disabled experience. And I knew that this year I really wanted to work with a kid again, because the year before I had worked with a young girl, and the energy that kids bring to set, especially on such like a quick turnaround, is just so magnetic, and their curiosity makes it so fun to just like work things through. And it's such a quick process. Like, you have less than a week to make a film, so if something goes wrong, it's like, okay, brainstorm, how can we fix this? And sometimes the kids will be like, I have an idea, and it's perfect. So I just love working with kids so much. So I knew I wanted to work with a child on this film, and I had been hearing a lot of stories about kids in foster care over the pandemic. So I wanted to tie that together with the disabled experience. And I had been researching that a majority of the children in foster care live with a disability. So the story sort of came together that way. But yeah, I love doing these challenges. They're always so fun and such a great way to meet other filmmakers and actors with disabilities. Like on our film, I think we had at least 50% were people who identified as having a disability. So that was really cool to work with all of them and get to, create something that we could all be really proud of. Yeah. Oh, Nick, you're on mute.
Well, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, you should feel proud of that because it just really was, such great work.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
I just want to add really quick. So I do this challenge all the time, and I've never won best film. But the thing is, like, it is so cool to do this without even expecting to win anything, because then you have this film and it's yours, and you can submit it to other places and do whatever you want with it. And I think that's like, it's so cool to just have this as a platform and then use it to your heart's content, basically. So I'm really thankful to the film challenge.
Wow. Thank you. And we are thankful for you. And we want to go back to that question because that was a question that came up about, what's next or would have come from the challenge. We're going to come back to that. But first, we want to keep just hearing about the inspiration. Jennifer, your film, was the last film that played, and it really just felt like, you were really being so honest and talking about your journey. Can you talk about the inspiration to why you decided to make that film and what you were thinking as you put your film together?
Well, I found out about the film challenge kind of last minute, and it was 2020, so I wasn't doing anything else. And I really wanted to make a film, and I was thinking, what could I do? And that song that I had already written, that song, "The Fish Don't Care When It Rains," and the more I thought about it, the more I thought about how I'm like the fish. Like that song is about like being through things that you've been through so much. Like it's hard to, as a disabled person, you go through so much, especially growing up, that you almost become like battle tested. Like you're already in the water. The rain's not going to affect me because I'm already wet. It's already happened to me before. And so I wanted to wrap that idea around my story, and that's how was the inspiration for it. And I just told the truth about myself and tried to make it fun, and my rudimentary animations. And I almost didn't add the animations, and my friend was like, "I really think you should animate the raccoon." So I did it, and I like that part. So anyways, that was what was behind it for me.
Great. And Andy.
Aha. Yes. Can you repeat the question? Why?
So
did
we
you
want to talk, we want to talk about the inspiration to the film, and your film, you know, we're all wondering, was
what the heck was I
is Ryan
thinking?
involved? Were
Well,
you,
you know,
was that a friendship? And
Ryan
also,
and I have been friends for a long time. Like we were YouTubing back in the day, and we were like, I could do this better. No, you could do this better. There was this whole big thing. And then, you know, if you're marginalized within the disability community, people call you that person, even though that person is not in a wheelchair. They'll be like, "Oh, you're that guy," and I'm like, no, that guy can walk," or "No, I'm not that guy." So we were playing off that, and we were also playing off the fact that like we've all been in the cattle call rooms, right, where people with disabilities go to one open call. I don't care if you're female, I don't care if you're male, they don't care if you're 100 or 2 years old. They just want the disability. So it's not about your talent, it's about the disability. So we were playing off that. And like the fact that Hollywood usually picks a golden person to uplift society for one moment and then doesn't give room to diversity, we were playing off that too. And I was really worried. I thought, oh, Ryan's gonna be pissed off. Like I was like, I don't want to do this. This is too much. And then he texted me, he's like, no, just do it. It's fine, go for it. And so we did it. And you know, St. Louis, God bless him if you're there, but oh my gosh, like it was, none of that was special effects. People were like, wow, you did really good CGI in the weather. I'm like, no, I had a soggy butt for like 2 days, serious. So it was not CGI, but I really wanted to make some commentary on Hollywood and the disability community, and how sometimes they don't care about who we are as people, but just exploiting our disability or exploiting our persona and not thinking about the talent. We've all been there. We've been hired for our wheelchairs, our prosthetics, our disability only. And I'm just like, I'm over that. So I just wanted to make that point, but like ham it up really bad and just make it funny. And so yeah, I actually love the film challenge because really it's like I got a call from CBS right after that morning. They called me and were like, we want you to submit something. We don't know, we don't care what it is, just send us something like now. And I was very happy when that call came through because I wasn't expecting it. I was asleep and they called me, so that was really awesome.
Well, thank you. And I'd also like to point out too that Ryan O'Connell is the creator and executive producer of Special on Netflix, the hit show. Yeah. So really cool that you know, he's also mentored and loved your film, and he shared your film. Yeah, and there's been so many success stories. And Rachel, you know, your film has won awards, underrepresented awards, screened all over. We'll get to all of those, but first, Natalie, I want to, you know, last year your film 2021, Nene to Bomb, it was very different than Seven. So can you talk about your inspiration behind what you decided to do for this film 7, and it was a complete different character to Nene. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I think for Marie and I, who's the producer slash director, it's always important for me to play a character and not focus so much on the disability, because I want the industry to see how multi-talented we are. Just in this group, there's so much talent. And so anything that we do, we always try to think outside the box. Like, what can we do next? Like, top ourselves the next year. And so we're very big fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love Sarah Michelle Gellar. And with the theme being superhero this year, it just felt right to do our own version of that. And so that was kind of the inspiration behind that. And we just went for it. And it was a lot of fun and a lot of work, because much like Andy really being in the rain, like Marie really had me out there training, because she does boxing. So like she had me in the gloves and actually like making me train and like again. So it was quite the experience, but I loved to be able to show range, because like you said, Nick, Nene is not 7 and 7 is not Nene. They're very much different. And so it was just important that people saw that like we are able to play different characters and we're able to do them well.
Absolutely. And for those of you that haven't seen Nene to Bomb, it is a great film. And Natalie Trevone, who won Best Actor that year as well, plays Nene, and she raps, and she's a larger than life character. But that is one element I would like to, for those of you that are tuning in and you're interested and you maybe want to enter next year's film challenge, this is the opportunity for you to play something completely different, to tell the story you want to tell, and you'll be in charge of it. On that note, I'd like to go to you, Summer. What inspired you to, you were the producer that won the best film this year and were nominated for Best Actor. Can you talk a little bit about the inspiration of this character, and also the fact that we almost don't see your disability for many of these films, actually, which I think is cool. That the films don't have to be about disability. It's about having one person in front of and behind the camera. So talk about your inspiration.
Hi, yeah. So the inspiration was mainly just putting the group together for me this year, because I've been doing the challenge for a few years already with David Harrell and as an actor, and he would produce and act in them. And one of the things he wanted to do, much like how Natalie was saying, was make it a story with people with disabilities, but not necessarily about it. And so when I put together the team, it was a bunch of, we've known each other since freshman year of college. We all went to NYU together. It's like a squad. We're always rolling squad deep. It's great. And so I knew they were all very talented, and I knew their work. And since this has always been a big part of my life, I wanted to, be able to just incorporate them in the challenge this year. And then Yanni, who wrote it, I went to him and I just asked after we had the assignment and everything, and I had never known how he worked in that capacity. And he came at me with 3 theses, I guess. And one of them was a bad roommate eats his other roommate's mac and cheese, hilarity ensues. And I think that was just so interesting and random. And I was just like, that's funny. Let's do that. And yeah, Manny himself is, he learns his lesson by the end, but he's kind of just a bad roommate for the first 4.5 minutes. And he's trying to fix all the bad roommate stuff that he does. And so I think that's important, because often we're represented as the inspirational story, like I think we've talked about already. And while those stories are valid and real and important as well, we can be the villain and the bad roommate or the love interest or, whatever. So I think it's important to show like the whole spectrum of life with disabled actors. And I think we did that with a lot of the movies this year.
Absolutely. And Ashley,
Yeah.
you touched on it. You said, look, I'm usually behind the camera. I don't want to be, and
Yeah.
What was the choice here? Why did you?
I think the pandemic really was a lot of why we ended up kind of focusing on my story. I never really had a piece that kind of showed the whole my journey in filmmaking. So it was, my husband and I were going to participate in this. And then when it was documentary, that was the topic. we were like, well, I guess we're inside. Should we just do this on my story? And it was really cool because I started going through like old journals and just seeing the trajectory of my life and how I felt a lot of shame about disability, and to where I am now, you know, is such a different experience, and really owning my disability has completely changed my life and my career. And it's been really cool to look back on it and talk about it with people. So I'm really grateful that we participated.
Wow, that's awesome. We've had some people kind of touch through their Q&A about success stories. You know, what I love so much about the challenge is it's not just people talking about what they want to do. It's about everybody writing. You have to act, you have to produce, you have to direct. And many of our sponsors, which are all the studios, the networks, Fortune 500 companies, are directly contacting us and you know, being like, we want to bring this person in for an audition, that person. This is a question that I just open up to the group. If anybody wants to share about some of those success stories that they've had, whether it be Rachel, I know you already kind of talked about it with winning that underrepresented award. If you want to elaborate on that, and I open it up to anybody else after Rachel.
Thank you. I don't think I mentioned that, but you know that already. So it's the AT&T Underrepresented Filmmaker Award. I won back in 2018 for my film Committed. And then this year, like, you know, it's just really fun. I mean, I still consider myself more of an actor writer, but as a producer, it's really fun to like look at all these different film festivals that are out there. And like we just won Best Live Action Short in the Boston Kids International Film Festival. We won Best Short in Focus on Ability based in Australia. So it's been like really cool to just like connect with other filmmakers at all these different festivals and get to know their work. And I mean, usually we are the only film that features disability in some way. So it's really nice to like put that in their minds, like, hey, film festivals, you should be like prioritizing work made by disabled creatives, and like other filmmakers, like include disability in your diversity initiatives and things like that. So yeah, I think it's like the film challenge is a great way to just make a film. And then if you produce it, or even if anyone on your team wants to like, you know, start to do the festival circuit, that can be a really cool experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mentioned the CBS thing because it took me by surprise. It was like 9:30 in the morning, and they called me and said, "We want your tape tonight." And I was like, "Why?" I mean, I knew why, but I was like, "Why so quick?" Right? So I went in, and it was a serious audition, which is like a total departure from the character that I was playing. So I was like, maybe I'll give them 2 takes. Right. And so they called me right away. Well, not right away, but like the day after. They said, "We really love your audition. We're trying to see where we can put you, you know, and see where like that." That's what I always get because I'm such a unicorn. There's not really roles written for me yet. So they always say, like, we want you in something. Right. And so that's exactly what the casting person said. We want you in something. We just don't know what it is. And we don't have the vehicle yet. And I was like, well, get writing. And then I was like, have a good day. And then, but it was such a great experience. But the other thing that I love, I know for this next year, I have my 2 people that I'm going to harass until they say yes. And like meeting the talented actors and artists and people behind the camera that do the good work. Like, I wouldn't continue doing this challenge if there wasn't such a great tribe around the challenge that I could cherry pick from some of the best artists to work with and some of the best talent to work with. So that's what I think, honestly, is my biggest takeaway. You know, the auditions are great, the festivals and the awards are great, but like knowing that I have a system or people to call on when I want to get a project done, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
something to
Oh,
say
go
off
ahead.
of what Andy said, because a big company. I don't think I can say who it is, but they want me to write to write music for one of their projects coming up, and they're like, we don't know exactly what, but we want you to do this. And like, because they haven't thought of this already, but then they're like, whoa, this would be really good. So they have to come up with something, which is cool because, at least they're like really trying to work us into it. And also they want me to pitch them a show in January. So I'm like, what is going on? So it's really, if I hadn't done the film challenge, I would never have kept writing and getting better at my writing and coming up with ideas, and led me to that. So yes.
Awesome. Well, we've got a couple other questions that came in, and this is just a question to the whole group, talking about the process, the creative process of, like, you only have 5 days. How do you make those 5 days work?
I feel like I'm talking too much. No, I mean, I flew all the way to St. Louis to get Extra Special done. And, it wasn't, for me, it was like, it was just a flight and just a hotel, and just like, because I really wanted to work with Luke Terrell. He's the director behind the film, and he's done the film challenge for several years. And honestly, if it hadn't been for his directorial willingness to work with me 2 years in a row, I wouldn't have done it. I would have said, no, thank you, I'm good, I have other things to do. But it's the fact that I got to work with Luke, and he had a team that was so ready to work with me, and he pushed me. Like, we got in a fight the first day that we were done wrapping. I was like, I'm not doing that, that's ableist. And he was like, no, it's gonna be funny. And I was like, you're crazy. And then we had a drink and it was fine. But that process got to a better film, right? And so I love that. Like, you don't need to be all sparkles and sunshine with me all the time. You can push back to get the best pieces of my art, and that's the best thing. He's gonna hate that story, by the way.
I think he'll like it. So we're almost at time, but I want to make sure we ask a couple more questions and give everyone a chance to give some closing thoughts of where they are. Technology is such a part of being able to create your own films. It's something that, 20 years ago, when I started out acting and doing stand-up comedy, there were no DSLR cameras. Can you talk about how technology has allowed you to make films, work with people around the world, film festivals that you're submitting to? Anybody want to share about, how technology has allowed you to do what you do?
Honestly, I feel like the film that I shot on Zoom in 2020 called How Much Am I Worth was better technical quality than the film I made in 2014 with a camera. And I had no idea what I was doing. That was like the first year, So I think technology is really incredible. I mean, in that 6 years, it's come such a long way even. So if I always think I hesitate because the technology is like the last thing that I know about. I tried to learn how to edit. I have so much admiration for editors. I do not have the patience. So that's something I'm a little lost on. And I depend on my director and DP. And to find a director and DP, I depend on my connections. But I would say I was so surprised that our Zoom footage from 2020 was so good. And you can see the people clearly, you can hear them clearly, and really that's what you need to tell a story. So, yeah. Oh, Nick, you're on mute again.
I have to add too that, the ability to caption films, is utilizing those assets, it helps make things accessible, and it's much easier now than ever before. And, being able to do this meeting without having to fly into a city, we did 30 screenings around the country, screenings, workshops, and events this last year for 2022. And so technology allows us to be able to do that. If anybody else wanted to touch on that, you can, because after I want to have everybody give a closing, how people can find you. I wish we could keep this conversation going for a couple hours. And, this is a group of people here that each one of you could do a keynote and have done keynotes that are 1 hour alone. So I feel so bad that we haven't really got a chance to talk in depth, but I will say that follow these people on social media, because they are all rock stars. They're talented people that are changing the narrative. Does anybody want to touch on tech before I let everybody close out on what's next and where people can find you?
I do think it's cool too. Audio description is becoming more and more available as well. There are different companies that are offering discounts now. Like I just got audio description for Andy and Calliope. So at the next film festival, not only are we going to have open captions that are just embedded in the video, so no one can say, oh, we don't want captions. We're having captions, but there will also be audio description, which is really exciting finally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to let everybody kind of first and foremost, because look, we are all in this together. We are all going to hire each other. That's what ends up happening. That's what's happened to me in the 20 years of my career. And that's what I've seen this happen time and time again through the film challenge. Our mentors have brought people in, whether that be the Farley brothers from films they saw, whether that be Comcast, NBC, Universal, that have brought in our challenge participants, or whether that be actual challenge participants hiring each other on other projects. That's going to happen. And that happens through sharing our stories and putting ourselves out there. So let everybody know where we can find you. And if you have anything else that we want to know about, a promotion of where your film's going to screen, maybe you're going to be signing up for the 2023 Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. What's next? We want to know. Starting with you, Summer, where can people find you?
I'm at SoCarb, SOCARB, on all social media. I pretty much just use Instagram though. I will be signing up for the 2023 Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. And I'm currently doing a production of A Christmas Carol up at North Shore, Massachusetts, if you happen to be in the Boston area. Thank you, everybody.
And you just were on CBS show. If I can give
a
little brag.
You love giving out my resume. Yeah, I was just on So Help Me Todd with Marsha Gay Harden and Skylar Aston most recently. And there's, I'm on a couple other shows as well. So you might catch me on the little screen.
I think
Thank
you will.
you.
He's humble. And speaking of, you will catch them, and they all the time are getting, we're getting contacted. Natalie Trevone, you've won Best Actor 2 years in a row. Where can people find you?
You always get it wrong, Nick. It's Trevon.
Not just you, honey. He can't even say Arias. Say his name. He can't do it.
Trevon. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's Natalie Trevon everywhere on all social media platforms. And yeah, that's where people can find me.
And I got to say, we have industry all the time that are reaching out to Natalie, and, they're bringing you in, for auditions and thinking of you for roles. And, I know you have a couple other projects in development, all kinds of different projects. Some, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing with the group, but I just love so much all these projects and everything you have going on.
Yeah, I have been working a lot this year, which has been great. So I'm really grateful to the Film Challenge. I have been getting quite a few auditions, but next year I'm actually really jumping into my fashion bag, because I have a fashion line coming out in 2023 called NYI, which means Not Your Inspiration. And we have our first collection coming out. So we're going to be submitting to some shows. So that's really going to be a big thing for me. alongside of continuing to dance and act.
Awesome. And Andy.
Yeah, I'm on every social media platform. It's Andy's Wheels. It's Andy's with an S and then Wheels with a Z on Instagram. That's where I am most of the time. I'm producing a film right now called Danny's Twins. It's in the festival circuit. It's doing really well. We've won like 8 awards for best films all around the country, and just in Japan we won best film for that, and I produced that film, and we're trying to get it distributed to like Netflix or Hulu or something like that, so that's big. And I'm writing and finishing my memoir right now, so those are 2 big things that are going to be happening in 2023.
Amazing. Ashley.
Yes, I'm Ash Eakin on all platforms for socials. Right now, and I didn't tell you this, I don't know if I told you this, but my Easterseals doc, a producer on a Disney Plus show found it, and they reached out to me to direct an episode of their project called Growing Up, which Brie Larson created the show, and it's on Disney Plus right now. And episode 4 features a girl with a disability. Her name is Emily Flores. It's a really cool story. And I also directed 2 episodes of an Apple show called Best Foot Forward. Also has disability representation. And yeah, I'm part of the DGA and the WGA now. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Look at that. I'll be honest, finding out about success stories live in this watch party, I'm like, I'm trying to throw out a press release at the same time. I'm like, I appreciate it. Also, let's make sure we get the Twitter handle right. I am excited. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
So I'm mostly on YouTube and Instagram at Jennifer Masumba, just my name. And I'm definitely going to participate in the Easterseals Challenge in the spring, and I have gained representation for my music, so they're giving me a producer, so I'm making an album that will be like properly produced, not just me in my house trying my best, and that will go along with the company that's interested in me for January, and we'll have a meeting, and I can't wait. I hope it happens so that I can say it, and I'm just waiting. I'm excited for Christmas, but I'm like, you could come and then it could be January. So.
Wow, it's amazing. And I mean, I'll be honest, we didn't even get enough time to share all these success stories because there's so many, and each one of these amazing actors, directors, writers, producers, fashion titans, I guess, should I say that now? Are really changing the way that we view disability. And the fact that it's happened through the film challenge in any way, truly humbles me. And I can't thank each of you enough that tuned in. To all the Easterseals affiliates, I really want to thank you for tuning in, for sharing this. Easterseals National, thank you so much. Yolanda, Kat, Aaron, Change for Balance, Kristen, Tiernan, this is really a group effort. And in closing, I just want to say, we're going to continue to push forward. We're 25% of the population, and the statistics are changing. We are getting more and more opportunities where people are getting hired and getting the keys to tell their own story, and not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera. And that is happening because of the support and the talent of all these people. And I can't thank you enough. You could find out all about the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge if you go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com or at Disability Film Challenge Instagram, Easterseals Disability Film Challenge for Facebook. You can follow me at Nick Novicki. I got to give my own plug. So I'm so excited. We may be completely out of time, but
you want a photo? Like, do we want?
You know me. We got to get that group photo first. Hang on.
I
Should
did
I
my
throw it
Real
hair.
quick,
Real
Uh,
quick.
on Instagram, I'm at bionic.brunette. And
Real
you can
time.
catch me on Interview with the Vampire on AMC.
Boom!
I love that. That's the only reason I watch that show.
All right.
Not
Before guys, we got to do the group photo, and then we may close on a video, or we may just be done. I'm not sure if we have time. We've gone over. Everyone that knows me knows I tend to go stretch a little by accident. So, 1, 2, 3. Anybody? Who's a good screen grabber?
Jen.
1, 2, 3. Did we get it? All right.